All right, it's Wednesday, so two things in the gaming news world that I want to talk about. The first big thing involves the big video game companies being afraid of TikTok competing with short form content. What? That sounds crazy, right? Well, I think it's a little bit more interesting than that. In fact, I'm seeing a lot of the conversation out there, and I think a lot of people are off base with this one, but here's the deal. So headlines this week were with Matt Booty from Xbox. One of the Xbox heads, he did an interview with the New York Times and he said, and I quote, "We are all seeking to meet people where they are. Our biggest competition isn't another console. We are competing more and more with everything from TikTok to movies." Along with that, the head of all Microsoft, Satya Nadella, kind of doubled down in an interview and said basically the same thing. Quote, "Gaming's competition is not other gaming. Gaming's competition is short form video." Now, a lot of people are looking at this and saying, oh, Microsoft, Xbox, again, with another out of touch statement, but god damn it, now you guys have me here doing something I never like to do, but it is defend a corporate executive. Look, there is more nuance to this, but I think what they're saying, competing against short form stuff, I think is actually the reality. I think to deny otherwise and just like read a headline and dismiss it as Xbox once again having another L with like a public statement is really short-sighted and not really living in the real world, because if you go out there and you look, younger audiences aren't picking up the hot new game or interesting thing. They're playing Roblox, they're playing Fortnite forever, or yes, more and more people are on their phones, they're playing mobile, and in between mobile, they are scrolling on TikTok or whatever. And this isn't something exclusive to Microsoft or Xbox or anything like this. I remember like a couple of months back, like an ex-Sony head guy executive for PlayStation said basically the same thing, saying TikToks, Instagram Reels, short form stuff is what they're concerned about. And I think it's a bigger picture idea. It's the concept of the attention economy, which is something that I think some gamers like to kind of ignore. But the reality is entertainment is all encompassing. Just like I talk a lot about live service games, right? And like people only have room for so many live service games in their life. They can't play a million endless games. Hey, next up, let's talk about this fall season, right? October, November, it gets very busy, right? Whether it's the holidays, you got activities going on. Me personally, a lot of video games to play, lots of Apple Spice things to enjoy, and with that comes unpredictability. But with our longtime sponsor, Vessi, you are totally covered for any situation because they're dependable, comfortable footwear. But they're incredibly versatile because they're 100% waterproof, and they have so many different varieties that you're always good to go. I have a pair of these right at my back door. The Weekend sneaker. This is one of their tried and true go-tos, and they're lightweight, comfortable, and of course waterproof. But that just means wherever I go, I'm good. A more nice function, good to go. More casual, running around, maybe getting caught in the city, getting caught in the rain, I'm fine. Even getting stuck in a little mud, these bad boys rinse right off and you're good to go. But your feet are always comfy and dry. But again, the Weekend or the Stormburst or any shoe they got is really good, really flexible for all different occasions, and most importantly, all different types of weather. I've been rocking all their shoes for years now, and they work great whether you're working, playing, you're in the city, you're in the woods, you're in the wilderness, you're good to go. But believe it or not, I think some of you guys don't know this, they're actually backed by a 1-year warranty as well as 30-day hassle-free returns. So if you want to check them out, all you got to do is click the link in the description down below or head to vessi.com/onjake for 15% off your first purchase. Again, that is vessi.com/onjake. You can click the link down there, check it out, and big thanks to Vessi for sponsoring this video. Now back to me yapping. The same goes for entertainment, right? Like you can only fit so much entertainment in your life, whether that be TV shows, scrolling on your damn phone, or playing video games. I think there's a difference though between the platform holders where Microsoft saying it makes sense because they're building services, they're building a platform. Now they're beyond hardware and they just want people to subscribe to Xbox Game Pass or buy the games they publish or use Windows, whatever. So they're a little bit more in a big picture thing, but the other guys, Sony and Nintendo, I think the reality is that they're also competing, but not in like a Silicon Valley tech conversation way, but more that attention economy way. And I think they're doing a better job of not having to acknowledge it yet because they're still just doing their thing. They're making compelling experiences, they're selling hardware, That's it. Is that going to be how it is forever? I don't know. I think things are definitely likely to change, but I do think a lot of it comes down to this. And I think it's like, yes, okay, attention economy, and like people are just scrolling at Instagram reels and they're not playing video games. But I do think it's more of like a generational thing. And I've talked about this before, but I am curious to see how gaming can win over the next generation of gamers, because like I said, you have a lot of kids growing up on Fortnite, or like a shit ton of kids, if you look at the numbers, growing up on Roblox. And I don't know how Roblox serves as a pipeline of getting kids into other games, because unlike something like kids playing Minecraft and then being hungry for that and watching Let's Plays and being exposed to other games, Roblox is a very insular thing. People are developing quirky games and experiences inside the world of Roblox. So I don't think some players are getting out of that bubble as early as you would expect, or how it has happened in previous generations with like viral or big famous games. Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be the next big smash thing that gets more people going out and buying PlayStations or Xboxes or whatever, right? And getting back into gaming and maybe even becoming gamers. But that's more adult people, and I'm still more curious about the younger generation. So again, just going back to like the Microsoft guy, the Xbox guys saying it, that they want to be everywhere on every platform. Honestly, I think makes sense that they are concerned about things like short form video, TikTok, Instagram Reels, even Netflix, because they're trying to be everywhere. They want to take over as a software company thing, a user experience thing, a publishing thing. Where the other guys, like I mentioned before, Sony and Nintendo are still kind of keeping the traditional route, and I don't think they have to worry about that stuff as much yet. But my point with like the next generations and stuff like that, I think eventually they are going to have to. And to just bring it all back home for me, I think it comes down to the games themselves. And I'm greedy. I always want more video games, but I also want more big, smash, incredible, like insane games that change the industry, change the world, change people's lives. They come around every so often. There are plenty of really creative experiences and things we've seen before in the indie world, the AA world, even the AAA world, but some of them just don't break through as hard as they have to. And I think there's still not enough of them. And I say that as somebody who, and I get flack for it all the time, every year I think there are some great video games that come out. Every year I look back at all the things I played and I'm like, damn, that was a good year. But I think we need more things that break through and change everything. Really renew excitement. Bring new people over, change the way we think about video games, right? Like we've had it so many times in the past, whether it was like the rise of the fighting game or Super Mario or Super Mario 64, Grand Theft Auto 3, the Halo, believe it or not, but then moving on over to things like Minecraft and then eventually Fortnite. And I think that's where things get a little bit different, where it's not as traditional, it's not as black and white as it used to be, with a game coming out, blowing everyone away, garnering new gamers, and we just need more stuff like that. How? I have no idea. I don't make games, but I don't know. I might be a crazy rambling person. I had an entire pot of coffee today, but I do kind of also want to end on the positive note, where I think there is still a hunger and a want for gaming. I think as much as the attention economy is there and like, you know, there is concern, I think that concern is warranted. I do like going online and seeing people still excited about video games. Even in corners of the world or corners of the internet I disagree with, like people who are just like, what if we just pressed a button and had AI just like make a video game? Wouldn't that be cool? I think it's more complicated than that, but still, those people are at least excited about video games. I don't know where I was going with that, like a long rambling to come back around to say, like, I think that, you know, these companies should be afraid of TikTok and Instagram stories. And I think to dismiss that is short-sighted. But for me, what I would like to see the solution to that be even better games, more games that change the world, really compelling experiences to win people over, to get people off of their fucking hours of screen time on their phone, or pull kids out of the world of whatever the hell is going on with Roblox and play, you know, I wasn't going to say real games. I don't want to shit on Roblox developers, but you know what I mean. And I say all this not trying to be too gloom and doom about it, but I have become more and more aware that the gaming landscape is changing, and that the next, I don't know, 5 years, maybe 10 years is not going to be anything like the last 5 or 10 years, which I would argue, being around for a while and covering this stuff for a while, was somewhat predictable and kind of had a lot of echoes and through lines of the time before that. I think the next 5 to 10 years are going to be very interesting, very different. I have no idea. I can't predict this shit anymore. So I want to talk to you guys about it. I want to know what you think in the comments. Where do you think this is going? And do you think that these companies should be afraid of TikTok and whatever? Or do you disagree? And do you think that these companies should just, keep doing what they're doing? I don't know. It's a complicated topic, but it's a nuanced one, but I definitely want to hear what you think. Along with that, the only other thing I wanted to talk about briefly this week, this flew across my desk, totally under the radar. Nobody really talked about this, but apparently images leaked for a live service God of War game that was in the works. Apparently this was canceled, but apparently Blue Point Games were working on this. We did know that, and everybody kind of made fun of that when that was happening, because you have someone like Blue Point, people who can make great games, clearly remake and reimagine games that we already love. They're really, really talented at that. And then you have Sony put them on this, a God of War live service game. Weird, dumb, but the screenshots have leaked. They're kind of like images of work in progress arenas in the game, and I just thought it was kind of interesting because it highlights a return to the Greek setting, and just the way they look kind of reminds me of God of War Ascension, which did have multiplayer. Remember that? I remember clowning on that. A lot of people dunked on that, but it did find some people. Some people really liked it. Hey, I like the Uncharted multiplayer. I also like Factions multiplayer. They were working on a new one of that. They canceled that, so I'm pissed. Sony clearly has canceled a lot of live service things, and yet they still managed to put some out. They have the hits, they have the misses. For every Helldivers, they have a Concord. But I think I mentioned these screenshots just because this popped up this week, and it got me thinking about that again. It was so weird that this was an attempt shoehorning the live service thing, where I don't think it really makes sense. People are hungry for more God of War, and people like me especially are even hungry for more classic style God of War, going back to the Greek pantheon stuff. But not like this, to quote The Matrix. The only other thing I wanted to say, this week I am doing a Halloween special video. I always try and put out a Halloween video every year. I've done videos in the past about games I like to play on Halloween, but instead of repeating that, I'm just going to put out a video talking about Halloween and horror and spooky adjacent stuff I've enjoyed from October, from Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, Little Nightmares, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. I got a lot, so keep your eyes peeled for that. That will be going live around Halloween time, and of course I'll have a costume, so yeah. But thanks for hanging out, yapping with me on Wednesday. I just talk about some news stories that I find interesting. I want to dive a little deeper into. Friday on Game Ranks, I talk about all the news, but here I like to dive in. If you're new here, I also yap about games on random days as well, but Wednesdays I always give you 2 things, so clicking the like button helps me. I appreciate it. Shout out to the sponsor as well, but thank you guys for being here. I'm looking forward to hearing what you think about the whole TikTok Matt Booty thing. Hit me up about that. You can find me on social media, links below. But I'm Jake Baldino. Have a great one. Be safe. Subscribe because video games. Pizza's on me.